Hello students, today we are going to discuss about the threads in Java. So thread is actually a single flow of control. So a single flow of control in a program is called as a thread. So a program with only one single main method is also called as a thread. So but actually what we are going to discuss here, or what I am going to explain here, is about the multi-threading concept. So before going to the multi-threading, we need to know about what is a thread. So actually thread is an individual execution of a program. So within a single program we can have multiple threads. So with an example, if I want to explain you, is about a video game. If you are playing, so in the video game you are connected with the network, the graphics is running, and also the user interface is also going on. You move your mouse and so the key and all that, so that is the user interface. All these three are divided into different threads in a same program. So it's in the same program that we have different threads. So like this, if I want multiple tasks to be done, so that multiple task is not between two processes, it is but within one single process. So in such situations we come across with the threads. So what is multi-threading is just about what I explained now, is having multiple threads in a single program. And what is the difference between multi-processing and multi-threading is, so the operating system takes care of scheduling between one process and the other process. That is, when should one process execute and when the other should execute. So the operating system takes care of, and the memories are also different. So memory space is also different, and the context switching is done between one process and the other process. But here in this multi-threading, what happens is, so within a single process the operating system takes care of executing multiple threads. So that's what the difference between the multi-threading and multi-processing. Okay, so and how it actually works is, the operating system is taking the responsibility and operating system is doing everything. So but here in the multi-threading, the user can create their own threads. So in multi-processing, the user is not supposed to do anything. So user has only one thing, that what he can do is he can just go on executing different processes. But here in this multi-threading, the user can create its own thread. That is, when you open a browser, so in the browser you can open different threads, that is different tabs, and each and every tab that you open in a browser is executed as threads. So that's how the multi-threading works. And then speaking about the advantages, so because only one single task done by the thread is not so advantageous, because I have so many things to do and only one single thread is doing all that. So that may be little cumbersome for one single control, and the user may have to wait for too many seconds. So that can be divided. And then if I want to speak about the disadvantages of the multi-thread, having too many threads, and one thread is waiting for the other resource and the other thread is also waiting for the same resource. So like that there are more occurrences of deadlocks. So deadlock may occur. So and that may be one of the disadvantage what we can speak. And now we will go in detail about the threads, how it is executed in Java. That is, in Java we have direct support for multi-threading. So many other languages, so there we have to add on support. There is always an add-on support, but here in this Java, the Java virtual machine has direct support for this multi-threading, and there are thread classes and runnable interface, so which are used for accompanying all these threading concepts. So we'll speak about different states of thread. Why? Because the thread is born, the thread is blocked, the thread may go to the runnable state, the thread may be executing, and thread may be entering into the dead state. That is, the thread is born and the thread is killed. That is, the thread enters into the dead state. So the thread is always in any one of these states. So it may be in block state, it may be born, it may be in the dead state, like this. So it always moves through all these different threads, all these different states, and then that is how we execute the threads. That is, we will go to the first step of the first state of the threads, that is in the born state. So the born state is what we mean is, it is the thread is just created and it is going to be executed, not executing, it is going to be executed, that is the thread is just created and it has its own memory. Now next is the ready state. So ready state is also called as runnable state, that is it is in the ready queue and it has not yet got the CPU, it has not got the processor, it needs to go into the ready it needs to go into the running state, but it is waiting in the ready queue, that is the runnable state. And next is the running state. The running state is what, when I say that the process is executing, it is active, so that state is called as executing state or running state. So next is the dead state. So the thread reaches the dead state when the thread is terminated, it doesn't have any memory, it is been removed from the memory, or I purposefully want the thread to be killed and I terminate the thread. So in such cases, otherwise it also enters into the dead state when it has completed its execution. So there also we have the chance that the thread goes to the dead state. So then we will speak about some other different states other than this running, executing, dead state, that is in the blocked state. So this is very important, that is blocked state, where the thread enters into the blocked state when something wrong happens, like the thread is made to wait for something, the thread doesn't have any resources so that it can execute. So because of all these other reasons, the thread may enter into the blocked state. So when the thread is in the blocked state, it doesn't have the CPU, it cannot execute nothing. That is after moving from the blocked state to the runnable state, then it can go to the running state. That is, blocked state is something like it is idle, the thread is idle. Okay. So next is the waiting state. So blocked state is one special thing, and the waiting state, where I am making the thread to wait for some event to occur. That is, the programmer will deliberately, so he will make the thread to go into the waiting state, that is by using the sleep methods. Like that we have different methods which can be used for making the thread to go to the this thing. So that is the waiting state. So when it is made to wait, when will the thread come back to its runnable state or to the running state? It is by using the notify method. That is, sleep method is used for going into the waiting state and the notify method is used for coming back to the runnable state. So these are the different states in which the thread executes. So by this block diagram or this pictorial representation, you can see that the thread is created, it goes to the runnable state and also it goes to the blocked state. So while it is executing in the runnable state, it may go to the dead state. Otherwise, when it is executing, it may go to the blocked state. So from the blocked state, it has to come back to the that is the runnable state, and only then it can start its execution. That is, from the blocked state you cannot directly make the thread to go to the dead state. So this is how the thread moves on between different states, and that's how the threads execute.